welcome to another edition of Mortgage Talks. I'm your host, Adam Hires. We have a rock star, superstar on here, and you are going to get a ton of golden nuggets to take in your business and your mindset. I'm super excited for our guest here. I'm going to introduce her in a second. And then, but first, I'm going to go through this journey real quick. You all know I'm on a mission in a new state from Kentucky to Georgia, in a new state of Georgia, trying to do 150 loans this year. Zero contact, zilch, all that, building a database, growing it, et cetera, going through the pain points and having the fun. And I continue to say this thing because this is something I preach to myself continuously is be urgent in action and patient with the results. Because I tell you, it's if you out there do not have business right now or you're really struggling, one, I want to say I understand. I do understand because my Kentucky business is going great, still continuing to grow there. Thank you for everyone that's sending me business. It's awesome. In Georgia, it's just building from anew, and that takes a little bit of time. So what I want to say too is there's all these people saying, well, all these real estate agents are just going to start sending business your way because you're just going to do this. You're going to have this one thing, or you're going to be able to give them, you're going to be able to do leads, and then you're just going to give them one deal. And then all of a sudden they're just, oh man, it's easy. You ain't got to do anything. And don't make those dials on Monday. Don't make those calls. It's not, listen, make the calls, make the dials, make the connections. So I gave a call to an agent Monday, last Monday, and I've made calls, and I'm always sharing value. And I want to talk about that all the time. It's a value, sharing something that they need to hear what's going on in the market, something that would directly apply to them, something that's going to help them grow their business, something that's going to be, oh, okay. And so, every week, I was calling or sometimes both, dropping text messages and video messages. And so I call them on Monday, and I hadn't actually talked to him in live in probably 4 or 5 weeks. And he's like, what's going on? He's like, it's a good and a bad thing you called me today. And I'm like, well, what's going on? And he says, well, I'm getting tired of my lender. I'm just not really following up with the clients like I need them to. And I'm going to guess that you follow up with your clients really well because, man, you follow up with me all the time. Now, a lot of times people are thinking this. He was actually telling me this. And he said, you're systematic. You're consistent, aren't you? And I said, I absolutely am. And so is my team. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to start sending you business. I said, let's do it. We will follow up. I will follow up. I'll make sure you're taken care of. We'll give you VIP service and your client VIP service. So he gave me a referral. We followed up on him. Great. I followed up with him today and said, hey, just want to make sure you're updated, all that. Guess what? He's like, yeah, you convinced me. I'm going to keep sending my deals over here. So I had 5 agents that never sent me deals, never sent me a referral. This last Monday, all of a sudden, they're like, okay. I always say it, you got 12 weeks to make that relationship. Another big win was I followed up with this one. He came to one of my events. I followed up with him, all that. Then I got him to another event. We had a wine tasting little thing. I set up with the insurance agent, helped me set it up here. Again, use your people that you can send business to help you infiltrate. And we had this good wine tasting little event. I don't know anything about wine. I'm a bourbon guy. But they came there, and guess what? Like, we're going to start sending you, we're going to send you business. Like, our guy's falling down. He's not falling up where he needs to. It took 11 weeks. It took 11 weeks. But guess what? They're going to send me deals. And he did. He referred me since then 3 clients. I mean, think about that. You have to be masterful in follow up. Like, that's where all it happens. People want to do these events, like, and then you just don't follow up. I do these Power 4 events, Power 4, to help people grow their business. It's energy, prospecting, marketing, relationships. It's to help you grow those. When I have people come, the beauty is in the follow-up. The beauty is in the lead up, the follow-up, all that. You have a reason to follow up and continue to follow up. That's the way it is. If you just do it one time and you just put on the event and you don't follow up, it's just not going to work. I mean, I don't know what magic potion you think you got, or what that online lead system, or what just magical thing you think is going to happen without follow up. Now, you can create systems. I think our guest is going to talk about it. She's got wonderful systems. She knows it. Somebody's got to follow up with them. It may not always be you, but you got a way to continue to follow up. And if you don't show up, people are not going to show up for you. And so I want to just urge you to stop it. Get out of your own mind. Stop going, okay, well, they have a lender. We talked about that. Who cares? Are you showing up at their door? Are you trying to add value and consistently following up? Guess what? You're gonna push through that barrier. It's gonna be fine, because their people are not doing that. And I can tell you, they're not following up like that. That real estate agent's not following up like that. They're going to see, like, oh my gosh, this person's a machine. Like, this is who I want on my side to call my clients, to stay on it. It's just trust building. You're going to continue to build trust. So I just want to, again, continue to follow up. It takes a while. I understand if you're not getting business and it's frustrating because you feel like you had a good conversation, you did this right, but you got to consistently follow up. It's going to be fine. Just 12 weeks. You got 12 weeks to just follow up and make that relationship. It's like sand. You're going to pick up a scoop. Some's going to fall through the cracks, and some's going to be sticking right there in the middle of your hand. And guess what? Like, at the end of these 12 weeks, this first 12 weeks, which is really going to be in this month, if I get 12 to 14 agents that are good agents sending me deals, that's huge. If I get that each quarter, think about what that does. The 150 will be breeze. Okay, so that's all I got before I jump in here. I have a absolute rock star. I'm very just honored to have her on here. It's Adriana Bates. She is a rock star that you need to listen to. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited. We were talking off air, and I'm already like, wow, this is just stop right there, because you got so much that's gonna flow from this. So
No,
I'm gonna try to step out of the way and let you do your thing today.
Hey, no, and I'm super interested to hear your journey about, it's always intimidating to jump into a new market, to not have your relationship. So I have do you mind if we kind of banter back and forth about your journey? Is it okay if
Absolutely.
I
Love to.
bit? All right. No offense, right? We're all business partners here on the same mission. So real quick, you entered into this new market.
Yep.
List are you prospecting off? Like, where are you getting these people to call, these agents who are reaching out?
Yeah, so I got a list from a VA. It's got the 2,000 agents in the area doing at least 8 buyer sides in the last 12 months.
So they're qualified. That's the main point, right? So
correct.
As you're having these events, they're kind of had the same mindset and want to work with you. It'd be even nicer if you could almost qualify them down to understand and work with people that have a team mindset, because there's nothing.
Yep.
than working your ass off. And pardon my French if this is,
Yeah, you're fine.
bleep those out. I think we got somebody in the background that can bleep those out, but you're working your ass off to build this relationship. The last thing that you want to do is they start sending in referrals and they're like, hey, I'm really upset that it's not you that's running the
Right.
videos for my clients. I would prefer if it was you all day. Listen, I have 3 little kids. I've got a husband at home. The last thing I want to do on my Saturday and Sunday is be running monthly payments because their emergency becomes my crisis on the weekend. Not going to happen in my book, right? So if you can kind of narrow down how they build their team, have those initial conversations to see if they do have a team mentality and they understand how to scale, that will make your calls even easier. You can limit that pool down even, out of 30, you can narrow that down to about 11, that have the same mindset as you. So I would also recommend that because we've done all the tricks in our book where, yes, I put it over my cell number so that my team uses it to do my follow-up for me. And yes, I send out my scripting texts every Thursday to make sure they're preparing for their buyers that they're showing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to make sure their letters are updated, all of that jazz. Eventually they find out it's not you because it's happened to me where I'm getting coffee with one of my agents and they got a text from me as I was sitting there. So remind you, your systems do work, but they're going to figure it out eventually that you have a team behind you, but they should be open to that. You have some of these, and they're very much ego driven. If you have some of these agents that don't necessarily want to hear from your team members, they want you.
Right.
And to know, hey, this relationship isn't going to work. And trust me, I get it. It's hard to say no to that because you're like, hey, business is business. If you're sending me deals, I can work a couple of those Saturdays or I can work that Sunday. It just gives a bad taste in your mouth every time that you get that phone call. So my recommendation is narrow it down even further, make sure they do have a team mindset, and then, really put your personal flair on there. Yeah, you want to hear, you want to, like you said, you want to deliver nuggets to them to help them with their business. They might not want help from you. Who are you to come in and say that you come in and help your business? Like you just jumped into my market. You don't know George's market. So maybe ask them, allow them to vent a little bit, to be like, hey, you're taking my calls. What don't you like about your lender right now? My opinion is if they meet, they'll cheat. And that's true in business. And they're talking to you, they're going to cheat on their current lender. So you can be upfront and honest to be like, I'm not asking to be your plan A right up front. I'll be your plan B. I'll be your plan B, C, D, whatever you need me to be for a while. But ask them what they're frustrated about. Know already what they're passionate about. Some of them might be like, listen, I need calls on Saturday and Sunday. I'm not planned enough to know if I have someone that's going to come and need a pre-approval. I'm just not that organized. Then you know already that you might have to have one of your LPs or your LOAs or whatever you call them to be like, listen, you got to be on call this weekend. I'll give you a Thursday or Friday off next week. Be on call Saturday, Sunday. Just might need to do that.
Yeah.
So,
no.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
That was great, and I hope everybody listened to that for sure. With the, you have to be associated with the people that want to do business the way you want it done, and that's why, up front, I'm always, hey, I got a team. They got a team, and then what I do is get them on a Zoom with the two people that they'll talk to the most, right, which really is my, my guru in the back, helping the loans go to closing, Alicia, and then I got my front end that's over the front end, the leads and all that stuff, which is Thomas, and they meet them off the bat, and then they know that who they're dealing with off of that. So I think it's very important. And I've had.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and I've had that to where I remember even when I started doing the team concept, and somebody's like, well, I've never had where you don't talk to, somebody has a team and you have to talk to them. It's like, well, and I said, well, the worst thing you can do is go, okay, I'm going to change that for you. And I said, well, no, that's not the way you like to do business. I certainly respect that. It's just not the way I do business.
So if I could give you one pointer on that, as you scale and as you grow, it's a numbers game. As you said, right? You're going to get a handful of sand and a lot of that sand is going to fall through, but the quality or the gold sits. So as you scale and grow, it is taking away precious time from your 2 right-hand people right there that should be behind the scenes getting deals done. Take 45 minutes for them to be on a Zoom call with your agent. So record a video, allow them to speak about what they're passionate about and what they do behind the scenes. Then go ahead and you're out there churning and building those relationships, and then follow up with that video to be like, hey, this is who's taking care of your clients. So while I'm out here meeting and greeting and shaking hands, kissing babies, doing all the stuff I'm supposed to be doing, I've got these 2 quality people behind me making sure that your deals get through and you get paid. Because when it comes down to it, they want to make money. We all want to make money. This is not a 501(c). We are not a non-for-profit. We are here to make money, and they are too. So as you are, and your team is time is much more valuable than closing a deal for you with an agent. You need to do that. They need to be getting deals done. So I would have them record a nice video, embed it into whatever you want to do, so you can track the openability. You know, you can track if they're opening these emails or not, but embed it into the email, introduce your team that way.
Good suggestion. I like it. I certainly don't take 45 minutes though.
Oh yeah, whatever it is, you know, if you're scheduling Zoom calls, if you're scheduling Zoom calls with your team on it, sometimes, you know, their time is valuable. If you're out, if you get 30 calls a week, and let's say you convert 20 of those, that's calls that they might have to be on.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. I mean, that's a good suggestion. I like it. I mean, good counterpoint for sure. Yeah.
And then the other thing too is about the follow-up. So one of the things that I think my referral partners are truly passionate about is seeing, remember, they're ego driven as well. They're just as much a rooster as we are. They want to hear themselves crow. So if you send them a report, so one of our weekly things that we do is every Friday, we send a report of all of the referrals that they've sent us, depending on how busy they are. So for our big referral partners, we'll narrow that down to the last quarter, even to the last month for some of them that are super busy and that have big teams. But we send them a report every Friday of every single referral, depending on the metric that we're using, if it's monthly, quarterly, yearly, to show, hey, this is who you've sent us. This is how many times we've reached out. This is where they are. And this is what the results are. So they'll see, hey, you've got these 4 loans in process. Here they are, on top of our Tuesday updates. All right. That we do that is so they know, and they don't have to ask us 9,000 questions about these other 6 that are credit impaired. Have they done the work that they need to be doing? Blah, 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 whatever questions they have, they can see the report. And this is the even bigger kicker. Real estate agents are much more unorganized than we are. So they want to see the names and the emails and the phone numbers because they forgot to follow up with them too. So then they learn to live off of those reports that we send every Friday and click on the number to then call and check in to see how they're doing. Because in our notes, we put super frustrated, inventory sucks, they're thinking about renting. And they're like, oh shit, really? All right, let me call so that they're to check in on them.
I love it. That's a great suggestion for sure. I was like, well, that's that's not, I mean, I know for one agent we had, which is, he's doing really well. And he wants to follow up, and that's his big thing. And he's, we're sending him over a report, but and that's I think it's a huge thing. I said, hey, make one just for him. But I can certainly see where just having a system of doing that with multiple referral partners is going to help. And you're right. I mean, they are unorganized and they're not following. Most of their follow up. That's loan officers too. If you're a real estate agent out there, no offense. I mean, you may be good at it, but you're the exception if you are, because most of them just don't follow up. Or because I've had the same thing where oh man, I forgot about them. Right? Well, they should be on your lead tracker.
But it's not just our real estate agents either. Our CPAs want to know. Our divorce agents want to know.
Yeah.
Our that have turned down a client and sent them over to us so that we can help them want to know. Like, all your referral partners truly want to know, and they want to know that they're valued. Referrals are valued, and that know what's going on. Because in all honesty, a lot of the reason that our referral partners are frustrated with their lenders right now is because they are busy. That's the problem. They don't feel like they are the ones that are the top of mind for them. They don't have time for them because they're chasing the next deal. So the key to scaling is to make all your referral partners and your clients feel as though they are your only referral partners and your only clients. That's how we have to scale and grow. So the systems that I'm super passionate about building are really just analytically looking at what I've done to make people feel special and replicating that. So whether that's text immediately when the application's received that says, hey, got your application, totally going to work it up. Here's when I can get it done by, because I'm in back-to-back meetings. They don't know that it's not me, number one, that's texting them. Number two, yes, I'm in meetings, but the reason that she said it's going to take me to the end of business day is because we have 25 other applications that we're trying to get through at the same time, but they don't want them to feel that. What they need to feel is though, hey, I've got some meetings that I've planned. I'm going to get to it by end of business. And if they say end of business, that better be like 3 hours before the end of business, because what we always want to do is under promise and over deliver. So you always want to make sure that that's happening. And then we do the same text to the agent. Hey, thank you so much for sending over Joe Buyer. His app looks awesome. I'll have it worked up by end of business, and then make sure it's 3 hours before end of business.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I mean, the same things, we do the same things. I mean, you have to continue to follow up. And the biggest complaint that real estate agents have, they're having to do the follow up with if that client's okay. And it happens all the time. And then it's taking, 2 or 3 days before they do. And if you don't get the credit, if they have to follow up with you, I mean, if you get that, you get all that credit when you're proactively communicating.
Yeah.
And you're right. I shared the other day on one of my, I think it was a Power 4, but the reason you're not getting referred consistently is lack of follow-up, or the lack of, thank yous, right? I mean, the gratitude, it's not there. And I talked about, I had someone that did a really good project for me, but they never followed up with me ever. And I used somebody else for the next project. And, it's not a good enough job. It's not good enough to do a good job. And we have to do an excellent job. We have to be the exception.
And the thing that every loan officer or anyone in the service-based industry, so it goes for like you just said, anyone in the service-based industry needs to understand, it does not have to be you. The reason that you can't let go of that control is because you're fearful of the result. Are they going to do it as well as me? Are they going to do it with the same tone or the same, smiley face and emoji that I use? These are all things that you can train, and 80% of your skill is good enough. Trust me. So if they're doing it 80% as well as you are, they are great. Okay. As long as it's happening, that's what matters. It doesn't matter if the template is a little bit off on the email, or you don't have this flashy automated system to send those updates for you. Work with what you've got. Send those emails, maybe make them a signature in Outlook so that they're easier and you don't have to type them every time. You better be sending those out. And if you don't have a system for your madness right now, you're already 2 steps behind you're behind the game already, because Mondays, you should know what you're doing. This is one place where I disagree with you too. I never call my agents on Monday. They are putting out fires, trying to figure out if contracts are going through. They are trying to get their contracts to their TCs. Their TCs didn't work the weekend, so now they're trying to figure out what needs to be communicated or what isn't. I always call on Thursdays. It's just my preference. I'm out on Mondays too, so I don't necessarily want to add more to an agent's plate. So on Mondays, what we actually do is we call all our pre-approved and looking. So we call them our pals. We call them on Monday to check in and see how the weekend went. Make sure they're not too frustrated. Tell them that the right house is out there for you. No, you don't want to sign that year lease. Hey, do you have any monthly payments that you want to go over? Is there anything that was interested in, are you looking at a different area? Whatever our scripting may be, we call all our pals on Monday. And then on Tuesday, we do our Tuesday updates. So these are actual calls that are made to both sides of the transaction and the buyer themselves, to be like, on top of these automated emails that are coming out to you, do you have any questions for us? And they might not answer the phone because they're like, and they might text back to be like, nope, no questions. We're used to these calls, but the reason that we push really, really hard to get our clear to closes 21 days, regardless of the time on the contract, is every week we can now ask for referrals. So that update that happens on Tuesday to the buyer's agent and the listing agent, that now becomes an ask that says, hey, we are still clear to close. We're still waiting to get to the table. What other buyers you got that I can help you out with?
Yeah.
Shut up and listen. If they don't have anybody, they don't have anybody. But hey, you're not going to get them if you don't ask. Then on Wednesdays, we do our current database or our past database. So we use the alphabet method, which I'm sure whatever system you use to talk to your past database, we do that. We also do that to do our first payment calls, which is when our first payment is due. Make sure you call, check in. That's another great time to ask for referrals. Make sure they know where to make their payment, that their payment's coming. Even though they do, it's still a nice touch point. And then Thursdays, we pound it out and we call all our prospecting. So whether we're prospecting for real estate agents, CPAs, divorce attorneys, financial advisors, banks that are turning down business, that's when we make those calls. And then Fridays, we do our events or our outings, our happy hours, and then we also send the report to our referral partners. And you'll get a lot of calls from that as well. Even though you just talked to them, you're still going to get some calls just to be like, hey, question on this. they thought that they could afford this, but in your system, it says that they're only pre-qualified up to this amount. Like where are we? I think there's a little bit of confusion, but
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. I mean, whether we disagree on the days or
yeah,
not, we're going
it
to,
doesn't matter
it's
as long
still
as
got
you're
to
doing it.
contact. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
kind of like, I remember, Jeb Blunt that does fanatical prospecting. He was, there was all these studies being done, and they said, like, what's the best time to call? And they did all these studies, or best day and best time to call.
Mm-hmm.
And there was only, I can't remember what the percentage, it was like so minuscule. It didn't matter what time, almost the worst time and the best time and day compared to the worst time and day.
Sure.
The pickup rate and the activity and the sales were just, I mean, almost, they're just a blip. And so, it's one of those,
Doesn't matter the day,
does
just as long
so,
as you're doing it.
yeah. And so it was like, everybody was trying to outform it because, of course, that's a whole thing with sales, right? Is that you don't make the call because you're like, oh, is this the right time? And then also it just doesn't get done, because I think the biggest thing is we're saying, okay, this is our system. This is when we're going to do it. This is this consistency of what ourselves or our team are going to perform and get that stuff done. Because if you don't have it, I think that's the biggest thing is having days to do it. Because when you say, like I was talking earlier, it's the whole, Parkinson's law. If it's like, well, I have all week to make the calls, it ain't going to happen really, And that's what I even noticed myself when I was calling for past clients, for example. I was horrible on calling past clients a few years ago, because I was like, well, I'll do it this week. But when it was this week, it was never being done. When it was that day, it was getting done. And that's what it's consistently been. So that's what I would say out there is, make sure that you do that. These are great, wonderful tips we're getting already. So so you came out of the womb just slinging loans. And so right?
No, I wouldn't say that.
How long you been? I've
been in the business since 2010. So I've been in about 11 years.
Nice.
I was one of those, I just finished up my master's degree. As we can all remember, 2010 wasn't the country wasn't in the best economic state. So I honestly had a hard time getting a job. And this is someone that I'm from the East Coast originally. I played collegiate basketball for Brown University. I came out with an Ivy League degree, went straight in, got my master's from WashU SLU. So in the Midwest, that's a really good school. And I couldn't get a job. That's how crazy it is. So I knew someone at the time that owned a mortgage company. He's like, hey, you're smart, you're aggressive, you're not scared of anything. Come and join this industry. And so the rest is history from that.
Nice. And so you started just building on the team. When did you start building a team?
So I didn't start building a team until I actually started coaching Carl White. I give my monumental growth to Carl. Before that, I was one just like Gary Vee. For all of you that listen to Gary Vaynerchuk, like I just would hustle the hardest. So I would work the hardest. I would put in all the hours, and I was still closing anywhere from 20 to 30 loans a month by myself with support staff. So I was working. I didn't have kids at the time. I didn't really care. I was making a lot of money, so I didn't really care that I was missing out on a lot of social things. I am one that attributes success for hard work, so I was like, I don't care. I will be the hardest worker in this room. And I did fine. I was just really rapidly on pace to burn out. So when I started coaching with Carl, it was really more for the freedom, which I told myself that it was like, all right, I have a young family. My husband was a professional athlete. So once he retired from that, I didn't have as much time to myself, because when he was playing ball, I could work at all hours if I wanted to. So then when he was home, we decided to build this company together to number one, I think he knows my personality enough that I always want to be working. I think it's just who I am. And then number two, after he was done with his basketball career, athletes translate well into salespeople. It's just what they are. They're hard work, they're intense, and they are coachable. So that's a really big key factor there. The interesting thing though is he does really well picking up where I don't do well. You know, I know it sounds cliche, but he's the yin to my yang. He picks up where I'm an intense person by nature. I struggle a lot with like building culture in a company, people feel loved on and taken care of. And he's really good at that. I also am an undiagnosed workaholic. So he does really well with making sure our three boys under 6 right now. So our life is super busy at home. He makes sure that they're at the sports places where they need to be, that our nanny is relieved, and that that they are fed, and that they're doing okay. But in scaling and in working with Carl, it's given me the ability to, clock off at 5. Will I ever feel like everything's done? No, that's just me and my nature. If I'm not busy, I will create something to make me like chaotic. Like that's just who I am. Like the team is running smooth as ever. I'm like, all right, I'm going to pound out these calls. I'm going to build, 10 new relationships. Let's just push the gas pedal a little bit harder and see where it breaks so I can fix it. That's part of my personality problem. And this isn't a therapy session, but I need a therapy session.
I think we have some similarities with that. I mean, it's just, because yeah, I mean, I think there is. I mean, that's probably why I take on coaching too, right? Like
I need one more plate to chuck up in the air, one more thing.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy. I'm just, I know a lot of people like. I guess they want to hear you say, I'm just a relaxed, just person, and I'm I'm intense. You're right. I'm intense.
I'm super intense, and I'm always on, and I'm tired at the end of the day. I'm not gonna lie. There's this whole thing called balance that everyone is striving for. Balance doesn't exist. In my eyes, it's harmony. Some days work is going to be taking the majority of my time, and other days it's my family that's taking over the majority of my time. As long as everyone that surrounds me understands that and they work in harmony, I'm good. But if someone thinks that it's easy and if they follow the system that we create, it's magically going to happen. No, it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of patience, and it's a lot of time that you really have to dedicate. It didn't happen. I know everyone loves hearing the success stories that in 3 months, they went from closing 2 loans to now closing 30 loans. You know what? If you truly do that in 3 months, you are putting out a lot of fires, and there is a lot of chaos going on, because there's no way that you have staff when you were just closing 2 loans a month to then handle that 30. And there's no way you can onboard good people and train them in that 3 months. So if you ever hear of those, it's not smooth sailing. My advice to anybody listening that wants to grow, don't do it as quickly as possible. Grow slowly. Add on a referral partner and see what happens when they start sending you 5 referrals a week. See if your team can manage those, because the last thing that you want to do is go on this meeting, sell all these things about your follow-up, about your systems, about how fast you can close things, and then not deliver.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
I don't have a lot of patience. I want to grow real fast all the time.
Well, yeah. No, you're right. I mean, I think it, for me, I mean, hiring ahead, it was been the thing. You always have to, you have to be ready for it. I mean, because you got to deliver if you're going to. You don't want to stack the cards and they just crumble. I mean, and then you got to start back over. I mean, that's a horrible thing.
So the way that we started doing that is looking at the KPIs, looking at the key performance indicators of sales activities to know when we were going to have a support staff. So for example, how many meetings are your sales staff going on? How many applications are coming in? Are they converting those applications to actual pre-approvals? Okay, when pre-approvals hit this metric, we know we need 1 more loan intake person, or we need 1 more loan partner or loan officer assistant. So knowing what your KPIs are, knowing what that magic number is, and when you see it on your CRM or whatever you're using to manage your data, when you see that number, you better be on the phone and call all those people that you had on the bench that you said, hey, we love you. We think you are amazing. We don't have a spot for you right now. Do you mind if I follow up from time to time to see if we have an opening? And you better like 10 of those ops people on the bench, which is really tough right now, because our industry is doing really, really well. And there's not a lot of people that don't have a job.
Yeah. How long you been in coaching?
With Carl, 6 years now.
Nice.
So I feel like not as long as Richard Smith, who but I feel like I'm one of the OGs with Carl.
That's awesome. I mean, but anybody out there always, and I'm sure you can attest to this, and you are attesting to this, is we all need help. We're all broken in some way. We all have some kind of brokenness of our, you know, how we're growing our business, or we can do it better. I mean, it's like, I don't remember what the quote was. It's by I think it's Stephen Covey, wasn't it? That it says, if a genius, you don't give a genius a roadmap, they'll get lost. And if you give somebody, that is not a genius, and give them a roadmap, they'll make it much, they'll make it there quicker. I mean, you have to have a roadmap, and have a roadmap
Yes.
to be successful. And I love it. I mean, I've been in coaching for, I don't know, a few years or so. And
Yes.
I've only been in the loan game for, less than 5. So, I'm always getting into how can, and of course I'm trying to coach others, because that helps me continue
Yes.
to evolve. But what I want to go to real quick is that, you said something about, there's not work-life balance. But I think what I always say is that that's a lot of truth to that, is just, there's a focused life balance. So you can have a focused life balance. I feel like you have some focused life balance, because you're like, I'm
Yeah.
focused here on that day, and then I focus here. And it's not always, because I think there is a misnomer out there where it's like, well, everything's going to be hunky dory all the time. And it's just, everything's, you're going to, you're not going to have to work, and you have this free flow. But it's like, the people that are ultra successful, I feel like, and they're able to have success at home and all that, is just, they know when to deviate, and how to have the
Yeah.
focus to
And to delegate. I think you have to delegate, and you have to be a master of delegation. You really do.
Yeah.
And you have to let go of that control. You can't control it all. Otherwise, why don't you just do it?
Right.
That's the thing. And to go back, one thing that I want to say about coaching, it's not that we're broken necessarily. My opinion is, hey, if someone has done it and has a roadmap for it, like you said already, why don't I align myself with them and copy exactly what they did? And then
Mm-hmm.
a little flair on it. Why reinvent the wheel when there's 9,000 wheels already spinning and they're doing a really good job at it? So if anyone needs metrics or statistics, we had a great year. My team did 540 units, I think, or something last year, and for over 140 million. We're in Kansas City, so we don't have the nice loan sizes. I mean, our average loan size is around 225, but we had a great year. And so what a lot of people say, okay, what's next? How are you going to build? I'm good with that. I want to make that our normal. And then how can we scale and make the system and process a little bit better? I'm going to lie and say I wasn't working real hard last year. If you were in the mortgage industry and you weren't working hard last year, then you better do some internal thinking and be like, all right, maybe this isn't for me, because it was craziness last year. And my biggest takeaway of that is, how can I make that the normal without me being involved? So how can these systems even further? What are the things that I'm doing, and how can I hire someone to do those for me, so that I can stay the visionary, so I can stay at the 5,000 foot view of the company and really lead and work on things like culture and team environment and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I mean, so, out there, if you don't have a team, try to get to that level. You do have a team, and start thinking of what you do when you have a team. And I mean, but most people always, I mean, almost all the time, add a team member too late. I mean, it's always that scarcity mindset. I don't want to let go. I mean, I would do it best. I mean, all those things we talk to ourselves about. I mean, I have a buddy that I'm trying to, like, get away from one place and say, hey, go over here and get help, because he doesn't have any kind of help. And it's like, you're never going to be able to scale or to be present at home if you don't do something. So, I mean, everybody out there, I mean, you have an opportunity to grow. And I think that loans are, just a beautiful way to really, have that kind of athletes type of mentality, where you're competing, and you're also, there's so much growth within it, because most jobs, your 9 to 5, just regular jobs, don't force you to do anything differently. You're just punching in and punching out. This job, there is all this stuff that comes flying at you. And if you don't control it, you don't know how to control your mind, you don't know how to control your team, as far as culture, as far as just growth in general, then it's going to eat you alive. And uh, I see that too many times, and you've seen it, I'm sure, where loan officers doing 3 loans a month are stressed out of their mind, and it's busy, right? And they don't, but I recognize, that's tough for them. I recognize if you're out there and that's tough for you, but you know, get coaching, get somebody a mentorship, get the roadmap, grow, and it's there's a lot of times where 3 loans is tougher on you than it would be for 10 loans if you had help and you just did the things you like to do a little bit more,
Exactly. And I mean, you're preaching to the choir on that, but I'm sure everyone that's tuning into your podcast is relatable. If they're listening to this podcast, they're looking for something, right? So he hit it right on the head there. If figure out what your goal is, write down everything that you do in a day. There's your job descriptions. Break them out into categories. There's your first hire. Break it out again. When you find yourself in the weeds, there's your next hire. So really the best way for you to build job descriptions is to basically just write down everything you do in a day and put it into a category and then hire the person to do that. It's the easiest way. Yeah. That's serious. It's an exercise that we do. And I'm sure you've done it with Richard. We call it the acts of freedom. And we say it's the acts of freedom because you're basically crossing off things that you do in your life besides brush your teeth and get dressed. Everything else someone else can do for you.
Yeah. So I called a real estate agent today. I was talking to her. She's like, how in the heck are you doing that? Like closing these loans so quick. And I'm like, because I'm a genius. And you want to know why I'm a genius? You know why I'm a genius? Because I have a great team. You know why I'm such a genius hiring? Well, because I've made a lot of wrong hires. So we're going to make mistakes, we're going to fall down. But out there, continue to grow. I mean, you got Adriana over here just absolutely, crushing it. She's telling you, get the roadmap, wherever you get the roadmap, get somebody. And I love what you said. Exactly. You can do what others do. Just, you can add that little flavor to it. You have a little bit different flavor to it.
There's some scripts that would sound so effing awkward coming out of my mouth. So just put, I can throw in a, hey girl, but imagine you calling an agent being like, hey girl, like they're going to be like, who is this guy from Kentucky coming into the GA trying to call me? So you know what I mean? I know that sounds like a dumb example, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. Put your little flair in it. Put your little piece that's important to you. Video might be really important to you. It's important to me because it's how I can scale real fast. So I always put a video in there so that they see my face. So even though it might be Brooke that's saying, hey, congratulations, you are conditionally approved. Adriana and I went over your conditions. This is what the underwriter needs to get you to clear to close. And then a video of me saying like, hey, congratulations, just a little bit further, you're almost there. Whatever word of encouragement that I can mass send out, nothing specific to them. It's still me. It's still me doing my little check-in to be like, you're okay, you're doing there, you're almost there, because honest, everybody wants the house. Nobody wants the mortgage. This is
gosh, yeah, that's it's like you just like did we. That's funny. I've been saying that for years. I don't know if I've heard much of other people say that, but it probably is. But it's just so funny. I've been saying that for years.
Yeah, everybody does, and it's a painful process. Yeah. So as easy as we can make it, and as pain-free as we can make it, the better.
That's awesome. Well, I know I've taken a lot of your time, and you gotta go.
No, my pleasure. Yeah,
it was a pleasure to have you on here. We're looking forward to releasing this. I'm looking forward to hearing the feedback on it.
Sure.
And I want to say thank you.
And if anybody has any questions, obviously you know where to hit him up. But I'm sure he'll put my handles and my ads all in the show notes or whatever. But if anyone has any specific questions, I'd be happy to answer any of those as well.
That's awesome. Where can they find you?
On Instagram. We're on all social media. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Our website is also really informative, but then I'll throw my email address. It won't be me answering it, but you'll get my email address as well.
There you go. Well, we love to have you on here. Love the fighting spirit you got. You're just doing big things. But again, you out there, if you're listening to this, and if you're a real estate agent, you're an insurance agent, you're obviously a loan officer, you can take these same principles and massively grow your business and scale your business and just do it the way you want to do it, and add that little flair, have some fun with it, and leave you a legacy.
All right.
Well, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Remember, guys, limited risk equals limited income.